Another very important concept in regression modeling are binary variables. They're also known as indicator variables, dummy variables, or dichotomous variables. And what these are, uh, they're variables that either happen or they don't, which means that they correspond to values of either 0 or 1. There are lots of examples of things that we care about that follow this pattern. So infant mortality is a 0, 1 kind of an outcome. We might want to ask someone, might want to know whether they've been admitted to the hospital during the year. They either have been admitted or they have not been admitted. Similarly, has someone ever been diagnosed with diabetes? That's a 1 if yes and a 0 if no. Or these other examples too. Did you vote in the election or not? That's a 0 or 1 variable. Binary variables, these 0, 1 variables have some helpful properties when we want to do regression modeling, and they come up from time to time. So when the dependent variable is 0 or 1, as in the case of these dichotomous outcomes, these 0, 1 outcomes, we often use what are called logit or probit models, which are different from OLS models or linear regression, which I've been talking to you about. They have some different assumptions about the distributions of, about the underlying distributions of variables. And these are not, they're called nonlinear models. They're just 0 or 1, so they don't follow a nice normal distribution, which makes them a little bit difficult to interpret. And I'm not going to ask you to try to do that in any great detail. So for our purposes, we're basically just going to be looking at the sign and significance of the variables in our model, really just to see if they, if they affect the outcomes that we care about. Did some variable have an effect on, whether you voted in an election? Maybe your age, for example, affects whether you voted in an election. Maybe mothers' smoking habits affects infant mortality, for example. But we're not going to get into too much of the details of how to interpret some of these nonlinear models.